Hey, this is Courtney Sheffield, your recruiter's favorite recruiter, and this is Courtney's Corner. And today I have my white collar OG, Scott Frye. Scott, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, my name's Scott Frye. I'm a legal, financial, and technology consultant, but the main thing is I own one of the major stockholders, and I started Alliance Reentry Centers,
Absolutely.
which actually is ARC, A-R-C for short. ARC of Bessemer. That's our main, location. And then we're doing ARC of Montgomery. We just started that. And now we're expanding all throughout the state of Alabama.
Are you guys in Tuscaloosa?
We were in Tuscaloosa, but the lovely laws of the multifamily didn't work out for us.
Okay.
We love your program, Scott. Just don't love it in the city.
Got it. I got it. I understand. So
Which is very unfair for the guys,
Right, because it's needed everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crime is everywhere.
Yeah.
So question, who is Scott Frye?
So I have an interesting testimony because I was actually prophesized that I would have a Joseph ministry. And of course, we all know what happened to Joseph. He was incarcerated for about 13 years, they say, if you look it up and you study it,
right?
Which I had plenty of time to do because I was a guest of the state of Alabama myself.
Okay. Joseph ministry.
Yeah. But I was an investment banker, and I was taking companies public on the stock market. Had plenty of money, and the profit came up, and we were at church, and everybody speaking in tongues and everything. And then next thing you know, you're going to have a Joseph ministry. And I said, well, now I know with that because I study the Bible as well. So I'm like, now. Y'all want money for this prison fellowship or something like that? I'll write you a check right now, but I'm not going in there.
Right.
So of course, God had a sense of humor because several years later, there I was sitting stupid in a Philippine jail, waiting to be extradited, come to the United States.
My God.
It was a deal that went bad, and it should have been a civil action, but turned criminal, and it is what it is. I'm not going to go into all the those details, but that's
where the passion comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what happened to Joseph, right? Joseph had a vision, did he not?
Yeah, exactly.
He was called to the front.
Exactly.
Okay, keep talking. I just want to put that out there.
No, and also here's the other thing with Joseph. Is that God allowed him to go through that.
Come on now.
Right? He allowed him to go through that, but he protected him along the way.
He definitely did.
And he elevated him every step of the way.
Every step.
Right? And he did the same thing for me. I had no problems in prison, going through the incarceration process. And he allowed me, I believe, to go through the process so that I would know and I would be able to use my now consulting abilities to then go and say, okay, well, I can consult for DOC. I can consult for parole.
I've seen that firsthand.
I can consult for law enforcement. And that's what I've done. And so I've built myself up in the place that I was actually paroled out to, I now own.
Say that one more time.
The place that I was paroled out to.
You own it.
I now own it.
My God.
But I also stress that, oh, look at me, all that kind of stuff, pridefulness and all that. That's
very humble person.
That's not the case. Because what God did for me, He can do for you.
Yes, and what God did for you, it wasn't just for you.
Right, He's no respecter of person.
It was for His people. He loved His people.
And that's the other thing is I was obedient, so now He blessed me with that part of it. But I still have to do the work. We all still have to do the work.
Yes, sir. So while incarcerated, what resources or mindset shift help you prepare for success on the outside when you were released?
So I spoke to the Senate probably 2018, maybe something like that. Cam Ward had asked me, he was a senator at the time now, he's the executive director of the parole board. So he had asked me to speak regarding this very subject, reentry and that kind of thing. Because I wrote, while I was incarcerated, I actually wrote an 8-page letter to Governor Riley, not Governor Riley, Governor Bentley at the time.
Okay.
And showed him how to fix his problem.
My God.
And of course, the warden called me up to the office and said, why are you writing the governor? Why are you
Yeah.
why are you writing Kim Tyler? You know, and all this kind of stuff. So, but basically, you know, I saw that there was a problem, you know, going through the system. Not that I'm any better than one of the other criminals, you know, because here's the definition of a criminal: a person that commits a criminal offense. Not a person that commits a criminal offense and gets caught.
Come on now.
Right? So there's some criminals out there that,
Talk about
you know,
it. Right.
I'm just saying, right?
I'm feeling you. I'm feeling you.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
So basically, you know, the resources in there, like I was telling, you know, the legislature, is that it's really what you want to get out of your incarceration. You know, I mean, you can sit there and play dominoes and go to the weight pile and mess around, all that kind of stuff. I mean, if that's what you want to do. I chose to better myself, and well, after the first 2 years of being bitter, you know, why am I here? You know, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
What, you know, poor me and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so then I was reminded that I had a Joseph ministry.
My God. Yeah.
And so, and my ex-mother-in-law is a pastor, and my mother is a Christian author. They both reminded me, you have a Joseph ministry. As soon as you get on board with that, God is going to let you out.
My God.
Get that pride out of the way. That's what happened to Joseph. Because remember, you know, he had that dream, and then he told the guys, and he thought, oh man, they're going to see the king. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. And then 2 years later, he's like,
wow.
You know, he could have been like, man, I should have never told those guys nothing, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm pretty sure that crossed his mind.
I'm sure of it. Right. But I think as soon as he got that out of his system, that's probably maybe why the other 2 years, because that's what happened to me. I should have won on appeal. I should have won on all that stuff. And I had, you know, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna sue the state of Alabama for, you know, this and that. You know. But, you know, the 11th Circuit said, well, thanks for playing. You know, basically, if the record was great, you know, they didn't send it back to correct the record. They just said, well, thanks for playing, you know.
Yeah.
And so this is a whole God thing.
Come on,
because I should have won.
Yeah.
I won cases in the Criminal Court of Appeals. I got people off of well, I was a jailhouse lawyer. I got people off their convictions. I won 5 convictions that I know of because they kept moving me around and stuff.
Got it.
So, you know, I know God has favor on my life, but I don't abuse that. Just like I just went into the prison system, and I started talking to these guys, and you know, I said, I'm not bringing anything in. I'm not a convict. I was a temporary inmate. I'm not a convict.
Okay. I love it. So, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced upon reentry, and how did you overcome them? How did you overcome those challenges? So,
quite frankly, again, how God works is that I'm not from Alabama.
Okay.
So, when I had made parole, of course, other people who had been through the system, they said, "Oh, you know, you need a home plan." I don't know what a home plan is. I don't know.
Don't knock a home plan because I create home plans. So go ahead. Go ahead.
So basically, they said, "Why don't you go to the Foundry?" And, you know, I don't know what all this stuff is. And it's okay, fine. Call my mom up, you know, I guess check out the Foundry. You know, I need a home plan because miraculously they cut 4 years off my time.
Wow.
That I was supposed to go out in 2019. I got out in 2015. So basically,
so you've been out for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you've accomplished so much.
Yeah, I came out with nothing. I'd start from scratch again. I've been a millionaire 3 times.
Oh my God.
I want to keep it this time.
Yeah. You're going to keep it. Okay, go ahead. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to stop because when you said 2015, I'm like, it's only been 10 years. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Back to millionaire status.
Yeah.
And then I talked to you last week. You were actually helping someone. Is it get off parole? Or they went up for parole? Yeah, so
I help people get off parole, community corrections, sentencing, you know, the whole gamut. You know, so it just all depends. I'm not going to deal with a foolishness case.
Got it.
I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
You know, but if a person really wants to change their life and they're done with the foolishness, I'm your guy.
I tell them all the time, it's a mindset thing.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to pressure you. When you're ready,
Yeah.
we'll know you're ready.
Exactly.
I love it. So I'm going to skip a couple questions.
No, that's okay.
What inspired you to start the business? Okay, so you say you were a millionaire 3 times, right? So what inspired you to start again?
So basically, it wasn't really kind of the money situation. It was, I believe that God put that on my heart because when I graduated the founder, because they had a prison reentry and then they had a drug rehab.
Okay.
And they still have the drug rehab today. But they got rid of the prison reentry side of the house to focus on this other side.
Got it.
But when I was there, I stayed after the 6 months. I stayed and helped my mentor, Mike Farrell. So shout out to Mike. He's.
I did not know he was your mentor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love
What's
Mike.
crazy? He was the director, and then I ended up hiring him to
run.
after.
Sure, because I'm like,
4 years later, 3 years later.
Okay, so let's go back. He was your mentor, the founder.
Yeah.
And later you hired him at your organization.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, keep going, Scott.
Yeah. I love Mike.
When you think you know a person, go ahead. Okay.
So I love Mike, and so but I was kind of butting heads with them on the fact of how they were doing their reentry. Matter of fact, I went to Micah and Pastor Bill at the time, and I said, "How would you like to be $100 million ministry?" Well, I don't think God's got us going in this direction, Scott. And I said, "Okay, God bless it." Then that's going to free me up to now take this business plan that I came up with.
Come on now.
To go to that next
That's
level.
order. That says a lot about integrity.
And I just I got with a guy by the name of Dion Wright. We all know Dion, and then we had that vision to help these guys.
My God.
And I told them before I left prison, I said, I'm coming to get you guys. Those of you who are ready, those of you who want to, are not going to waste my time.
Come on now.
And I believe God will allow me to help you to get out and get that second chance.
I love it. Okay then, Joseph. Okay. So you may have already asked this, but how did your time, well, we already know how your time in prison shaped your approach to business and leadership. So when you told those guys, I'm coming back to get you, you meant it. You went back and got some, right?
I'm probably the only, like I'll go back there and I'll see some of the guys that I did time with, and they're like, man, you weren't lying. Man, you said you're the truth. You said you were going to do it. I said, yes, I am going to do it. Why wouldn't I?
Come on now, Josephine, his brother and his daddy. So tell me let's talk about when you go back and get them. What does that look like? And they made up their mind that they're ready to move forward in life. What does that look like?
So basically what I do is I have them write me, because I always want to be the Harvard of reentry.
He not lying. He get on my nerves, but go ahead.
I want you to tell me why you want to get out.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what you're going to do. Now, okay, you have your plan. Some people look at me like, like a deer in headlights. Well, I can't help you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When you get it together, come and see me again.
Yes.
So I have them do 3 things.
Okay.
So I have them write, what'd you do and why'd you do it? I want to see the mindset, right? And then what'd you do in prison to better yourself?
Okay.
Did you just hang out? Did you just do foolishness? Or did you go to chapel? Did you work on yourself? Did you become a better man? That kind of thing. I just want to hear, I got all these certificates because honestly,
it's a mind thing.
It's
outside of that. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Because I asked them, what did you get out of those certificates? Nothing. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then the final thing is, what are you going to do when you get out to stay out? What's your plans? What's your goals in life? I mean, here's the thing, the beauty of it. Don't go home. Don't go home.
I tell them all the time.
Right? Go somewhere else. If you commit an offense here, go over here. Everybody knows you over here. Right? You can reinvent yourself. You can reinvent yourself. You can get a whole new bunch of friends. You can get a whole new job. You can reinvent yourself. You messed up.
Absolutely.
Okay, it is what it is. You dug yourself in a hole. It is what it is. But you can't keep jumping up and up. You got to cut that, get in that dirt and make a little step, okay? And make another step. Okay, get up on that step. Make another step. Pretty soon you'll be out of the hole.
Progress, absolutely.
Exactly. Pretty soon you'll be out of the hole, and then you don't have to fool with it again.
Yes, I love it. So, what advice would you give someone currently incarcerated who dreams of becoming an entrepreneur?
So, this is what I just got done speaking with guys at Bib, and I'm actually going to teach a class there, and for those who really are serious, And so what I tell them, you got all this time. And that's what I did. I wrote business plans. I envisioned what's it going to like, what does it look like when I get out? What am I going to do? All that kind of stuff. And that's what you need to do. And that's what you need to play in your head.
Absolutely.
And get the foolishness out. And get the people that you're hanging around with, get them out of the way. And then start, getting a path to, okay, so I want to start a lawn mowing business or a lawn care business or a HVAC business or whatever. Okay, so what are first steps? What are we going to do here? How much money do you need? Okay, but money doesn't grow on trees.
Absolutely.
So you got to be realistic, and people aren't just going to hand you out money. The government's just not going to hand you out money and that kind of thing. When I got out, I had 3 jobs. I delivered pizza. I had a Mercedes, but I delivered pizza. I put myself down to that kind of level. It is what it is. You do what you need to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And I struggle with that. I'm going to tell you that. I struggle with that.
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine because.
But then you just got to come to the pot. Look.
This man showed me his life before he was incarcerated, and I'm like, so you had this luxurious life.
A nice life.
Yes, you did. I was kind of jealous. Then you were incarcerated, and then you get out delivering pizza. You get out delivering pizza.
Yeah, and telemarketing. I would do telemarketing.
You were not on them people's phone.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
bless it.
Oh yeah. And
I know you hated that.
Oh my word. Oh my word. I felt like telling the people on the other end, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm gonna get a commish, right? But man, don't do this.
but the vision you had, what I love about you, Scott, is even though you were down to that level, you still had a vision and you still had a heart for the people, because you could have gave up delivering them pizza. Like, forget them folks in prison.
Oh, absolutely.
But you kept your word, and you came up with a strategy, and you came up with a plan, even though you hated it. You came up with a plan and you stuck to it.
Right.
And now I can't even imagine how many lives you're changing just from the people that we've sent over.
Yeah.
I've seen you actually, like, I'm calling, hey, I got this guy being released, and your team going forth and making sure that this young man is taken care of.
That's right.
So to me, that is so powerful and that's so needed. And you have a heart, and due to the fact that you've been through this.
Well, I know it is like, when that guy calls me from the wall phone, I know what that's like. I got to take that guy's call. I could be in the middle of something and I'm like, I can't call him back.
Yeah.
So I got to take the call.
Because you never know who's on the other side.
Because
when I get those calls, it's like, my God.
Yeah.
You never know just one thing that you can say to change that person's life.
That's right. That's right.
Just one thing. So I
Exactly.
get that. I get that. I know I probably told you, but thank you for your yes. Thank you for your hard work. Like, I love it.
No problem.
So you don't answer all these questions. My God. So what role, so let's talk about Mike. What role does mentorship play in helping formerly incarcerated individuals succeed? So I want you to answer that, but I also want you to go back to Mike.
Yeah.
What did Mike do? What did he pour?
Well, he took my phone when I first came to the Foundry.
No phones. I take phones too.
Okay.
He took your phone.
But then I got another phone. I told him. I said, I'm a little smarter than you, Mike.
Can't hold him down, Lord Jesus. But so,
I did have a little prison in me, coming to the Foundry, that
you had to work it out.
Yeah, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I had a plan. And Mike, you're in the way, man. Because literally the first day I finally get a phone. I'm coming out from Loxley. We're driving up, and I even wanted to hang out. I wanted to hang out with my.
Of course you did.
My guy came to pick me up, right? And he was with his girlfriend. They were drinking and stuff like that. And I didn't tell Mike that, but I'm like, man, that's how the devil works too. And he almost had me.
Yeah.
Because I'm free.
Yeah.
you know, are you really free? Because I was on paper.
Come on now.
You know, I was on paper, right? So seriously. And Mike could have said, because I called him, and I said, hey, Mike, can I come tomorrow? You know, he said, home slice, you can come tomorrow, but you can't come here. I said, I'll be there, sir. You know, I'll be there.
Absolutely.
You know, because I'm not going to play with my freedom
that
now.
Part.
You know, I'll play up to a certain point. But no, you say jump, I'm going to say how high.
Okay.
You know, I'm on parole. You know, they say don't have any communication with the police. I'm walking the other way. You know, I'm not even waving to you. I ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm taking you at your word. You know,
absolutely.
Because you ain't free, you know, on paper, right? So I get there and you know, and I'm you know, my roommate has a phone, but he's in a different level. You know, he's getting ready to be, you know, transferred over to another part of the camp, you know, or the facility, right? And so I got my phone out, and some guy comes in to deliver mail and tells on me. You know, I'm sitting there with my phone and you know, Mr. Frye, come to the office, please, Mr. Frye.
You already knew what time it
was. Hey, what's up? Give me your phone. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mike. Give me your phone. You got a minute to go back to your room and bring me your phone.
So he was stern with you.
Yeah, he was. We butted heads. You know,
Of course.
we butted heads, and but then we became friends, and then he had me working for him. Then he showed me how to go to parole. I was going to parole, getting people out, arguing for their behalf while I was on parole.
I'm hollering.
And getting people out. And I had Lynn Head, who was the chairwoman at the time.
I know Lynn.
I love Lynn. Shout out to Lynn. I had her number. I had her cell phone. I'm on paper. Cliff, Dwayne, all those people. Because they knew that I wasn't going to waste their time.
You had to be there.
I turned somebody in that I got out. Because that's what I promised to do. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And Lynn brought that up at one other time when I was arguing for a guy at one time. She brought that up. She brought that up, and she respected that. Because I'm not about all that foolishness. You know, you're the popo. Well, don't do something in front of me.
Listen,
because I'm gonna do my job.
Absolutely.
You know, you want me to ask for help? Judges and all these people that are great. And we have a great group of judges and prosecutors. I mean, we really do. Danny Carr, DA. I mean, you got to try awful hard to be real stupid.
Exactly.
Real stupid to want to go to prison with this group.
With the opportunities that they present to you.
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy. They give you time after time.
They care.
And that's why they're being so strict now with everything going on. Because they have programs set up. They have opportunities set up. So if you wanted to do right, you could.
That's right.
So
that's right. And I'm all with it. And that's why, you know, I'm not going to jeopardize that. Not going to happen.
Yes. So shout out to Mike. Thank you for being a great mentor, okay?
Yeah.
So how do you use business or your platform to support others who are, I already answered. Scott, you done answered all my questions by telling your stories. Lord, this has been so good already.
Well, the next level that we're trying to do, I mean, you know, okay, so the three reasons why people fail is housing, jobs, and transportation to the jobs, right?
Absolutely.
That's the main reason. Now, if you're with the foolishness, you're going to fail by yourself.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But
the tools are going to be the housing, because if you're a felon, sometimes you can't even get housing. That was my problem. I had to go on Craigslist and
do what?
And get a room.
Bless it.
You know?
So you out here.
I mean, what's up with that?
You out here delivering pizza. And you had to go to Craigslist.
Weekly hotels, and I mean, the whole on. I'm like, I go from a mansion in a weekly hotel. What's up with this? Okay, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing.
And you did.
I'm going to keep pushing.
Because when we were working together, Scott was on a vacation out of the country. Every time I looked up and I was pretty mad, I was salty. But I love that, Scott. So housing, let's go back to that. Housing is so important. That's like I tell the guys. And I even tell them sometimes, even if you have somewhere to go, don't go home like you said.
Yeah.
Don't go back to your baby mama. No. Don't go back to your mama. No. Don't go back to those
Not
things.
Right away.
Right. I'm not saying stay away from your family.
Yeah.
But I'm saying give your time give yourself time to soak that plan in
Yeah.
and be for real, because sometimes our family love us so much that they'll cripple us.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
you need to make sure that you are ready. You need to make sure that you elevate, because you're fresh out.
Yeah.
You're
And
fresh
some of
out.
these
It's
guys
so many
get home and then they think they're the king of the castle and
Yeah.
all this kind of stuff. So then they're going to start butting heads.
Absolutely.
And then I'll tell you what, and for some of the guys out there, and I guess girls, it's opposite effect. But
after going into the
but
jail?
they're the ones sending them back. Forget about heroin, all that stuff. But girls are killing my guys.
What you say? I promise you.
Of course, they think they're Rico Suave. They got all the burner phones. They got, they think they're,
all the different women that have been incarcerated for so long.
Oh yeah, exactly. I said, don't play with these girls now. Don't play with these girls, because these are women.
And then
and they gonna play with you.
9 times out of 10, when you're being released, you're on papers, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, any altercation, it can be something so small that can cause you to go back. So housing is very.
I was gonna start a podcast called "I Met a Girl."
Wait a minute, Scott. I'm about to kick you off this podcast, because the right woman with the right mindset will change your life. Do you hear me? These young ladies ain't have the right mindset. He about to get kicked off. Okay, but see,
But then again, I did go in and talk to the girls, and I said, I met a guy. The thing is, you're getting off your game. That's the point.
Exactly. And then it's the mindset. Because if you are determined to do right, of course, like I was saying, don't go back to your triggers.
Yeah.
And then you have to be real with yourself. What are some things that I need to stay away from? Who are some people I need to stay away from? Just until you make sure that you dive into the person that you really want to become, right?
Right.
And then housing is important, but also, like we said, the mindset, and then the finances.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. You said that you help individuals.
So we got the housing, then you go to the jobs.
Right.
Right. Because you need a job.
Absolutely.
And see, and that's why I do it. Mine's not a non-profit. So it's not a nonprofit. So and no problem with the nonprofits. I get it. That's fine. But ours is for profit.
Absolutely.
And we have a self-sustaining business plan that the guys need to pay their way. Not a taxpayer, not some, not the church and all the other stuff, but the guys need to step up, get a job, and pay their own way.
Absolutely.
And learn the responsibilities through our program, do right, and then go back home and be father of the year, daddy of the year, son of the year, all that kind of stuff.
Because I remember one young lady that I sent through your program, and she was telling me, she was like, Coach K, I really thank you for that, because I didn't even know how to pay. She's never paid rent before.
Right.
So now she knows when she got her check, she had to pay rent. So you guys are teaching them to be self-sufficient. Exactly. And that's more important than saying, hey, even though the ARC helped me, I paid my way.
That's right.
They give you a different level of confidence. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They give you a different level of, look, I can do anything. I did that. Yeah. So now what's the next step?
Exactly. So we're a hand up, not a hand out.
That part, I love it. So we got the housing. We're talking about the mindset.
And then, so now you have a job, but sometimes they don't have transportation to the jobs.
Absolutely.
So those are the three things. So, you got to get so we provide that. And
that's not free either. I just want to say that.
Right, exactly. but that costs money.
Absolutely. So it's teaching them. Absolutely.
If you get your own car, you have a car payment. You have insurance.
And Uber
tires.
is horrible.
Oh, it put Uber way over here.
Yeah.
So I'm being the benefit of getting a hoopta.
Yeah.
With bubble gum put together.
Listen,
okay, so you still got to put gas in the hoopta. You still got to put tires.
Is it a hoopta or a hoopty? Which one is it?
I don't even know.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so the hoopty. Go ahead.
A car that's not that great that might be like $1,000 or something like that.
Absolutely.
Is going to get you to point A to point B.
Absolutely.
Whatever you want to call it.
But after you, again, you guys are teaching them self-sufficiency, because now I have to pay insurance and money management as well.
Yeah. And you got registration. Some of these people don't even have a driver's license.
Absolutely.
Some of these people don't, never had, they're not going to run on insurance.
Absolutely.
They're not going to run on registration, tags and, the whole 9 yards, So, we're trying to teach them to be a productive citizen.
Absolutely.
Not a blight to the taxpayers and that kind of thing.
I love it.
Hey guys, this is Courtney's Corner Podcast, where we highlight love, entrepreneurship, and current events that's happening in the community. If you would like to be a part of this podcast, Send your information to Courtney's Corner Podcast at gmail.com. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, I love that. So Scott, what else are you guys working on?
So I'm trying. Okay, so Harvard. So I'm trying to go the next level with these guys, and the guys that have shown that they can be accountable, pay their bills, do what's right, and do what's right when nobody's looking.
That part.
Type stuff. I want to try to get them into business. I'm starting a trucking company to our pilot, Parole has been great working with us. That allow them to go outside the state, and as long as I know where they are and that kind of thing, they're not doing any foolishness. And we might have an intensive drug screen process. We don't want anybody killing, driving down the road with meth and killing somebody, something like that. I want that, but businesses, and we're working with the legislature for a jumpstart program that would that would get you to your first check. So we would have the money to get you to your first check. Now the whole thing is that where we kind of differ from the churches and all these people that want to bless people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I know that ain't.
But when they get blessed and when they get on their feet and that kind of thing, pay it back.
Absolutely.
You now have a chance.
Absolutely.
To do the same thing I'm doing.
Absolutely.
God's no respecter of person. So, but you can take your little check if you think it's a little check, and now you can bless the next person to bring him up. And then he comes up and then he blesses
the same thing.
And then next thing now, we got a big foundation of helping hand money, that hand up money.
I love it.
That we don't have to keep going to the taxpayers. We don't have to keep going and ask for donations or people having to go out of their way. Now, if they want to do that and bless the people, that's great. Do that with them. That's fine. I'm not asking for any money. I didn't ask for any money, quite frankly, originally from the legislature to do this. I raised all the capital myself. I was blessed to get into Bitcoin early. So that's how I kind of got some funding as well.
I love it.
Because I'm always thinking, and then always thinking about with the consulting like Dion and some other clients that I have, how can I make their life better?
Absolutely.
Not how I make Scott's life better. Scott's life will get better.
When you pour into
when I pour into Courtney, when I pour into Dion, when I pour into Joe Blow, who's a participant in my program.
Right.
And so that's our next step. That's what we're really trying to do.
I love it. So right now, are you guys at your capacity at the Ark in Bessemer? Do you have any availability?
We have like a 50-person waiting list. I mean, we need more. We need more housing.
I love it. I love it.
So we have an opposite problem now. And God took care of that
because it's needed.
Yeah,
it's so needed. So how can the people get in touch with you, Scott?
So basically, you can go on reentrycenters.com, and you can go to our, so we got our website. I can, do I want to give out my telephone number?
That's up to you. So you can go to reentrycenters.com. If you know anyone that has been incarcerated and they need a support system, they have a waiting list, but they also have some great individuals. You can reach out to myself, and I will definitely get you in contact with Mr. Frye. He's doing great things in the community, and I will drop flyers and different things for his upcoming events as well.
That's awesome.
Anything else you want to say?
No, that's Scott, awesome.
This has been amazing. Again, this is my white collar OG, Scott Frye. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Scott, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem.
We will see you guys next time.